knowing that ISB focuses a lot on diversity, I used my three experiences in three different fields as my strength. And I structured my work ex in such a way that, the switches made sense.
So Anya, thank you so much for doing this. As explained before, we do these post-admit chats essentially to help people or future applicants who are applying to ISB to understand different people from varied background and different experiences. How did they prepare? How was their journey? Because it gives them a lot of help to plan that how should they start or what should they do
Right.
to submit an application and go till the interview stage there. Okay. So so to start with, you come from an entrepreneurial family, and you have a strong background upon that. So help us understand your academic and professional profile and the reason for wanting to do this MBA program.
So I did my schooling from DPS RKP, and I did my undergrad in CSE Computer Science Engineering from VIT Vellore. Post that, I have a work ex of about 2 years, 7 to 8 months. Now, in my work ex, if I see it, I had a lot of diversity in my work ex. So after straight out of college, I worked in the operations role. So there I was working as a media operation engineer in this content delivery network called Akamai. Then for a year, I worked as a software developer with timesofindia.com. And the last 4 or 5 months, I've been working as an associate product manager. So I think, for some people, this might come out as in less than like 3 years, you've made so many switches. But for me, it was that journey. And I think I took this time, the initial career, to just figure out what I want to do. So when I started in working in Akamai, it was an operations role, as in purely technical. So just ensuring smooth streaming of IPL events, football events, and other OTT platforms like Hotstar, Sony. Now the thing in operations was that so as you mentioned, I come from an entrepreneur family. So my parents founded jeevansathi.com, and so I think I got it from them that I wanted to build something of my own. So in operations, you're stuck to just working on something which is already established. Now, wanting to build something of my own and using my computer engineering background, I wanted to switch to a software developer role. So therein, I actually got to, and I was lucky enough that I was working on the personalization project for Times of India, and it had just started. So, I got to experience the entire stage, like, how the project is decided till the last stage when it went live. Now, there, I mainly my work was coding in Java, but I think I was lucky that way that the team was small and I had a lot, and I closely worked with the product team. So I figured that yes, while I am, making a product, but finally the business side of it is in product management, and software developer is, I think, one step after it. So, and I think even my product managers, all of them had worked as developers earlier. They had an engineering background. So I thought that if I gain that experience, and now it is a right time to probably switch to product. So very frankly, when I was, switching to product, it wasn't easy. So I knew an MBA was necessary, right, right to switch to that field. So before that, I just felt that I'll also gain an experience by working 4 to 5 months in a startup. So yeah, that has been my professional journey.
Right. And when you did you consider any other program when you decided to pursue your masters in business, and why did you decide that ISB is the best place for you?
So I didn't consider any other business program. And a lot of my friends were going for MEM, which is Masters in Engineering Management.
Hmm.
But I think I was pretty clear that I wanted to do an MBA. And I was also clear that I did not want to go abroad. Like I wanted to do it from India. Now, I think one is that staying in India, ISP was the only option, which, the only college which gives you that entire global exposure. And, the global standards are met in ISP. And the other thing is, ISP, we saw it, I think, in the interview, and even now, the interactions I've had with people till date, there's a lot of diversity. I think in our batch itself, I've interacted with someone who has a teaching background, people from finance, people from marketing, people from, family business, and all sorts of backgrounds. So, understanding how an entire business runs when you have people from different fields, because finally, a business is a combination of all these. So, you get to connect with all sorts of people. And another thing I feel is if you are not sure on what you want to do post MBA, so within ISP, because you have people from all having worked in so many departments, so many backgrounds, you can actually get to know what each field does. So that gives you that clarity, and you can learn from, I think, like learn everything from every single person out there. So, and of course, ISP is also a 1 year program which gives you a huge advantage. So I narrowed it down only to ISP. So I think in India that is the only college I applied to.
Okay. All right. Now, coming to your application, I remember you had less than the average experience of the batch. So it must not have been, an easy application to build. So, what were your application strategy and the primary focus area when you started building your application form?
So I think that is right. The average work experience they say is 3 to 4 years, and I had barely touched 3 years, and I had three switches. Now, instead of taking that in a negative way, I thought of knowing that ISP focuses a lot on diversity. I used my three experiences in three different fields as my strength, and I structured my work ex in such a way that the switches made sense. Now, coming to the number of years, I think that the learnings which I had in these years, I just focused on that and whatever little achievements I had. So, one thing which again helped me was my work at Times of India. Having worked on a project from scratch, I was pretty much aware of how the entire product is made. Now, I just focused on whatever I had learned in my work till now, and I think I just went in with that confidence. And I did not, in my applications, I didn't then, mention a lot. I didn't mention what I didn't know basically. So I knew that, like, okay, if I have only this work experience, then I have to just, go ahead with it. So I was pretty confident about that, but I just put it in a way which could just show my clarity on my goals.
Right. You went through mock interviews and counseling sessions with experts at ISBmantra. Please tell us how the different sessions helped you streamline your thoughts and how did you see your approach changing through these sessions?
So I think what the mock interviews really helped was they helped me understand the mindset of an interviewer. So I think even before the mock interviews, I was going through questions and the material that IC Mantra sent. But all my questions were, the answers were focused on what I have done. But I think ISB Mantra, the mock interviews, they helped me change my answers in such in a way that I address what the interview would be wanting to listen.
Yes.
So that I think was very important. And there is this career counseling session.
Hmm.
So the entire discussion, I think it made me very clear of the actual importance of an MBA
Hmm.
and what are my goals. So I think it was a very detailed conversation. And it was very personalized towards, my experience and what I want to do. And the mock interviews were again, scheduled with people who had a similar background, like engineers who switched to product management. So I think because of that, it gave me an idea of what questions I can expect in the interview and also how to tackle those questions.
Hmm.
So it was a very structured approach. But overall, I think if I see the first mock interview and the last mock interview, there was a world of difference. And I think it's all thanks to you and your team.
Thank you, Anya. And how was your experience interviewing with ISB? And what were the key areas of discussion during the interview?
So my interview went for about an hour. It was an hour-long interview. And I think it was for me, I would actually term it as a roller coaster because there were some places where I thought that, okay, I don't know if I'll get in or not. But there were some places where I thought I did really well. It was completely focused on my work experience. And I think I was also prepared for this question that you've made so many switches.
Yes.
So, but I think I was very well prepared and I knew that, I just have to explain why I switched. So, I gave out my career goal very clearly. So, every switch of mine made sense. Now, having, so I think a lot of engineers apply for MBA programs and having worked in a technical background. So then, you're often asked that, then why did you do engineering if you wanted to get into business? So so the entire interview was focused mainly on my work ex and they wanted to know the business figures. Now, as a software developer, I had some, I had some idea of the business figures, but I did not know a lot of detailed answers. So during my interview, I think they were also trying to gauge that, how well aware are you of the business? So I
Right.
think after about 5, 6 points, there was, I think, one question which I think I had never heard of and I didn't know. So one thing I think I did was, though I think I would have got nervous for a second or two, but I was pretty honest that see, I was a developer, so this area I had no idea. So I was
Right.
pretty honest with that.
Right.
And then having a product experience. So I had a long discussion about that and mentioning a startup goal in my essay. I also had about a 20-minute discussion, even on, if this idea doesn't work of your startup, do you have any backup option in plan? And I think they also checked about whether you had written your essay on your own or not. Because I remember one of the panelists, he picked a random word from my essay that
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned this high expectation. So, what were the expectations?
Hmm.
So I think apart from like those one or two business figures, I thought that I messed up a bit. It was a very, I think, and the interviews were very friendly.
Right.
So, it was a very conversational sort of a discussion, I would say. Mainly just they were trying to see your work experience and they wanted to be clear as to why you want to do MBA and specifically from ISB.
Great. And now that you have an admit, Anya, what are you looking forward, to the most at ISB?
So I think it is a lot of learning from my peers, from the professors, and also on developing myself. So I think, and there's a lot of FOMO happening, when you see so many groups and so many conversations. So I think I'm focusing on making a list of the areas that I want to improve myself
Right.
and what do I want to focus on and what are my takeaways, which I want to learn from ISP. So I'm just, I think making a list of my particular goals and what I want to do there.
Great. And are there any specific things you are planning to do before you join the program?
Nothing in specific. I think just preparing myself for the course and just trying to understand that whatever happens there, you have to focus on yourself and on your growth. And I think don't like not go with that overconfidence and also not any underconfidence. So just preparing myself for all that.
Anya, before we wrap up, what is your advice to prospective applicants who come with, engineering background?
I think one. I think general advice would just be that be yourself and also believe in yourself. and be very clear as to why you want to switch from a technical to a non-technical role.
Yes.
So as long as you're clear on your goals and you're completely honest in both your application and your interview, I think anyone can sail through.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, Anya. Thank you so much for doing this post admit chat with us.